How to avoid shame, struggle, and poverty by the age of 45. Let me tell you one secret. For those who are watching me and they are already 45, you know there is a lot of pressure that comes the moment you hit that age. Because the moment you hit that age, it is no longer about you alone. There are two things that people fight with the moment they hit that age. There is something called the midlife crisis. Let me not explain that. That's for the psychologists and the marriage counselors. But the moment you hit age 45, there are two things that you work upon. One, there is you. Two, there is your family. Let me explain why. In a typical society, somebody who is at age 45, most of them, they still have kids, either in university or high school, or in any way, they are paying school fees. And these kids are on their prime area, whereby you need a lot of money. If you have a kids in university, you need a lot of money. Or in high school, you need a lot of money. Or let's say they have finished high school or they have finished university. They are in a situation whereby they need a lot of help. You know one thing in Kenya, or where you come from, there are limited job opportunities. You have a graduate in your house. This graduate, they have graduated, but they don't have a job. So they're asking you, hey, dad, mom, would you mind to help me with 1, 2, 3 cash? I start a business. You're trying to figure out, you know, the joy of a parent is when you see your kids standing on themselves, when they can be able to do the things by themselves. So you're struggling with that. You would like to see them stand. You would like to start them business. I remember when I finished my university, I wrote a business plan to my parents and I wanted them to fund me to start a business. So, well, of course, I didn't get the money. So now the point is, you're struggling with that. And number two, you're struggling with you. Why are you? At 45, for God's sake, you're only 15 years away from being retired. Meaning, the job that you're having, they're going to hand you over the letter of retirement. We no longer need your services. And you know that means no source of income. And you know what that means? You are likely to struggle to pay your bills, because when you retire does not mean bills are not there. Bills are there. And the funny thing is that when you grow older, you need a lot of money for obvious reasons that I won't explain here, and God forbid. So when you become older, you need to pay your bills. Another fear that you have deep inside of yourself is you don't want to retire and depend on your kids, who you did not support when they needed your help a lot, you know, to get a job or something like that. So you're fighting with three devils here. You don't want to retire when you're broke. Yeah, and still you need your kids to be stable and all those kind of things. So you're fighting for your retirement, and at the same time, you're looking for the stability of your kids. Now the question is, how do you plan yourself? If you're watching this video below 45, I'm telling you, call this a gold mine, because it's coming at the right time. Because I meet these guys at this age, and I can tell you, the moment you have these two things struggling with, guess what kicks in first? Anxiety. Why? Because the spirit of comparison kicks in. You start now comparing yourself with the peers. Oh my goodness, peers have built their own home. Oh, peers are buying cars. Oh my goodness, peers have. Then you end up having anxiety. You know what happens with anxiety? Of course, it comes from the stress. The anxiety becomes depression. And then self-denial, and what have you. Now, how do you prevent yourself from having this? When you are at your prime, 20s and early 30s, and of course early 40s, what you're supposed to focus on is to simply doing what we call delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. See, when you have the energy and the strength, you can even forego lunch and nothing will happen. But a time will come where you can't even go without taking that tea or drinking that coffee, because now your body is no longer surviving on its own, needs some external mechanisms. So in this regard, when you are in this particular, before you hit this age, first of all, advocate for what we call the delayed gratification. Please, I know you need to be happy. I know you want to throw those parties and have fun, but have it in a controlled manner. Have a plan. Sit down with your present you. This is you here. And this is the future you. This is you at 29. And this is a you at 65. The funny thing is, if God is so fair enough to you, He will give you time to reach that age. Now, what happens with you here? Ask yourself, If you introduce yourself a lifestyle where you're earning 100K and 100K can pay all your bills, find out what you can do in future you earning around 150K. Obviously, why? Inflation and everything. Because the cost of living now will be different by that time. So if you're earning 100K, figure out on how you can get 150K without you being involved. Why? Because the present you, it is not the future you. The strength and energy and you have here at the time, it is not the one that you'll be having here. So here you can talk business, but here you talk investments. Here, this is where you talk about you making money. This is where you talk about money making you money. You get what I'm saying? Now, what you do, you ask yourself, of what does it require me to keep on investing, pump in some cash, so that at least by the time I'm hitting this age, I have an investment that needs that. For example, let's say you find out that you need 15 million. 15 million in an investment by this particular age. I know it may sound like a big figure and an intimidating one. No, don't worry about that. And probably here you are earning 40K. Of course, as time goes by, this salary will grow. That's the good news. So what you're supposed to do, live below your means. Please, just live. Even if you manage to live at 35K and you live 5K for the sake, then find a place where you can decide to be buying stocks. You can decide to be investing this money. Keep on pumping that cash. You know why? You're not only, here with this money, you're paying for the school of your kids, you're living good, and all those kind of things. Then this one is for the future you. And by the way, the good thing is that when you invest for you, you're even saving your kids some of the burden. Now, when you pump this money here, you keep on fattening that cow, until you hit that particular age. By the time now you hit here, this is now our magical age of 45 years. Guess what happens now? Based on what you've actually created from here to this 45, it may not be that figure that gives you that amount of money, but at least you are at an age whereby you can say, the rate at which I'm moving for the next 15 years, even if I slow down, I'm able to hit my target. How then do you prevent you getting yourself to poverty? The only way you get see, it's like the way to dirt is the water. Water cleanses the dirt. Simple. So what cleanses the poverty? It is money. So you have to find a way of eradicating this by virtue of you investing for you to make some cash later in future. Shame. Shame comes in when you see people at your peers, they have something where you have nothing. So when you invest, does not only eradicate the poverty, but also it positions you to the other levels, either higher levels than your peers or even at the levels of your peers. And about the struggle, of course you struggle when you do not have the finances. Can you imagine this? You go to a retire at 65. You don't have anything by your side. You have no money. You have nothing coming in. You are retiring. That is now the time you're starting to figure out how can one start this ABC business. Imagine you had given all your life, the prime years, to work for somebody. You are working in someone's dream. And if not someone's dream, you're working the plan of a government's. Several presidents has been with you and they were all working for the legacy for them to be re-elected. That is what you've been working for. There is nowhere where you are working for yourself. Now you've given out all your prime time and age. Now you are at this particular time, you have already been used. Now this time now you want to figure out how can you work for yourself. I'm telling you, you'll have the biggest stress. You know, the way you can handle the stress of a business at 65 is different the way you can handle the business at this. Unless maybe you have been in business throughout the time. Now here you handle the business with experience. Now here you become a newbie. For example, you can have two people who are business people. One who just got from the corporate world getting to the business. And they are facing equal magnitude of stress with somebody who has been in business since he was born. Or since he was working. Those people will handle these things differently. One has the experience, one doesn't have. You're trying to solve the business problem in a corporate manner. It doesn't work that way. So what happens here? It is that you're supposed to take your time here. This is where we speak this language of please delay the gratification. Don't just get any cash and throw in and do anything and everything that you want with your cash. Make sure that you manage your money. Make sure that you put your house in order. This may mean you delaying your gratification. This may mean you, denying yourself some of the things that you love. So be it for the sake of your future. And I told you one thing, when you invest, you're buying off a day that you don't have to work. And the funny thing I always tell people is that the moment you invest money, money doesn't take a break. Money doesn't take any leave. Money will work 24/7, 365 days in a year. That is exactly how it goes. So what you're supposed to understand when it comes to before you hit that age, and I'm not saying that by virtue of you doing this, everyone will be there. No, some of you will mess. Probably this message wasn't for all of you who will watch this video, but some of you will be like, you know what? Truly, I can be able to do something at this particular age. I can be able to put my house in order financially. Then ultimately, I can be able to do what? To be earning something in future. That is exactly how we do the things. It is not magical. It is very intentional. Don't rush into committing your cash some of the things that you find like they're just dead assets. They're not appreciating. They're not doing anything. They're just there. You're buying things to just satisfy what we call the ego, or satisfy what we call the emotional securities. By the way, there's nothing wrong feeding your emotional security, but not to an expense of financial security. Make sure that there is a very delicate balance between those two things. So before you hit that age of 45, this is where you make or break your life. Am I saying that things can't happen beyond 45? Miracles happen. Things do happen. You find somebody struggling from this, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a job where you're being paid even 20 times of what you used to earn. And then within 3 years, everything falls into place. But can you tell when you'll be lucky? Can you just then squander your life and then hoping to be lucky 2-3 years after the 45th age? You do not know. I told you one thing. Two things. Success is an intersection between hard work and luck. When you meet that intersection, that is when you can call yourself successful. But you do not know when you shall get that intersection. That's why I say show up every day. You'll never miss your lucky day. Show up every day. Probably you're watching this video and you have done all what I've been saying or what I'm saying. But things hasn't worked out. Does it mean now you're a failure? No, you're not. It's only that the ducks has never been in a row. Things have not been in line. Does not mean you're a failure. Does not mean you can't do that. No, you can. You keep on pushing. You know, by the way, you'd rather even retire saying like you tried, you did the thing, rather than you retire with guilt. Say like you threw all the parties and you have, a luta continua. That's what we call it here in Kenya. You're throwing party left, right, and center. And then you are regretting. That would be a very bad news. But then if you're in a situation whereby you say, hey, I'm doing this, please do. Because the moment you hit this age, I'm telling you, it comes with a lot of stresses. And this is, we find some people at this particular age, you tend to think like the partner that you're having is the one who is eating all your money, is the reason why now you're poor. Because now what happens now, you start looking for places where to fix, to fix your blame. Start blaming everybody and everything. You can even blame where you come from. You can even say, if it not for my... I remember back when I was in university, you find some people are saying, I know it's a weird example, but you are in university 4th year, you're about to graduate, and you're still wishing if you did good in high school to go to a certain university that you wanted. That's being funny anyway. So the thing is, guys, please, let's do something by the time you hit 45, so that by the time now you're exiting 45, you are somewhere. And that is exactly how you plan. Am I saying this because I know everything? Hell no. I'm saying this because everyone has opinion, and we are all opinionated. And just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. Pick that what you find it appropriate. Just leave what you find it's not appropriate. Do something about it. Then that is how you grow yourself to the next level. Don't forget, this is Good Joseph, and I make this kind of videos. If you wanna don't miss any of this, go ahead and subscribe. And make sure that you leave a comment on the comment section. Tell me where you're watching me from. And is there something that maybe you're beyond this age and you're regretting about it? If there is, then let me know in the comment section. This is Good Joseph, and see you in the next one.